Hello and welcome to another class of your plant tissue culture. We shall today deal with ovary and ovule culture, their protocols and their importance. If you look into the picture, here it is written as ovary, okay? And ovary is the region which develops into the fruit in the plant or in the tree. And the small bead-like structure, the white structures, what you're seeing, those are the ovules, which develop into a seed, which is present within the fruit. So, first let us define what is the meaning of ovary culture. So, ovary culture is a technique of culturing of ovaries isolated either from the pollinated or unpollinated flower. So, ovary is an ovule bearing region of the pistil. That is, look at this. This is the ovary, the outer region, here what we have met. So, the ovary is the ovule bearing region of the pistil. This is the pistil. This is all your female reproductive organ, right? So, the ovary is the ovule bearing region of the pistil. The excised ovaries can be cultured in vitro. That is, if you cut those ovaries from the other part of the plant, it can be cultured in vitro, that is, in the laboratory. This development takes place on a simple nutrient medium containing only mineral salts and sucrose, provided the flowers have been fertilized 2 or more days before excisation. That is, before you cut them. Okay, that should have been fertilized. So, but the ovaries of unpollinated flowers do not grow on simple nutrient media. However, use of some synthetic auxins such as your 2,4-D, 2,4,5-T, that is 2,4,5 trichlorophenoxyacetic acid, and 2-naphthoacetic acid in the nutrient medium induces the development of ovaries of unpollinated flowers. So these are the two methods. You can either use pollinated flowers or unpollinated flowers for the development of the ovary culture. You can see that how the nutrients vary when you're using the former and the latter. So often what happens is these ovaries, when we are culturing in the laboratory, the ovaries fail to grow into full size fruits because of the restriction of the space of culture vial. The culture vials are very small, right? So there is a restriction in the place for them to grow. Therefore, this problem is sorted out. How? Long flower stalk, okay, they are taken and inserted into an aseptic nutrient media. So they are immersed in the aseptic nutrient media in one of the vials. Okay, so something I shall draw like this. Okay, they are immersed in the nutrient media which is present in the vial, and this is the long stalk of the flower. So now what happens? You are inserting the stalk through a stopper. Okay, there is a stopper here. Through within this, you are inserting the stalk into the aseptic media through an opening in the stopper. This is the stopper, thus leaving the ovary free to grow outside the culture vial. So now it is growing outside the culture vial. It will have ample space to grow. Now let us look into the protocol of the ovary culture. So the first step is to Collect the pollinated or unpollinated flowers from a healthy plant. Wash them, that is your flowers, with the tap water. Dip into 5% T-pol, that is your detergent solution, for 10 minutes, and again wash to remove the traces of T-pol. And finally, you transfer the flowers into the laminar airflow cabinet. Surface sterilize the flowers by immersing it into 5% solution of sodium hypochlorite for 5 to 7 minutes. Wash them with sterile distilled water. Then transfer the flowers into a sterile petri dish. Here, using a flamed surgical scalpel, dissect out the callus, petals, anther, filaments, etc. of the flowers to isolate only the pistil. Only this I have to isolate, and the others are not required. During the isolation of pistils, care should be taken to ensure that the ovaries are not injured in any way. Damaged pistils should be discarded as they often form callus tissue from the damaged part. Wherever there is a damage, you know that it can lead to the formation of the callus. Then place the ovaries in an agar solidified nutrient media. Then the ovary can be cultured either through the induction, okay, this process, okay, by induction method or regeneration process. In the induction, the ovaries float over the liquid media. In contrast, the ovaries grow on the solid media in the regeneration process. You incubate the culture for 16 hours at 25 degrees centigrade. For ovary regeneration, for this, keep the culture plate in a daylight regime by using a fluorescent lamp daylight. You have to keep them under the fluorescent lamp at a lux of 2000. Place the culture tubes in the dark for induction process for this. After 2 weeks, haploid plantlets will grow either through embryogenesis or through plant regeneration from the callus. So, your plant, that is your haploid plantlets, will grow either through the embryogenesis or through plant regeneration from the callus here. So these are the two ways in which I can culture my ovary. So let us look out for the importance of the ovary culture. Since we are doing these procedures in the laboratory, the scientist can make use of the things what he fails to observe in the nature, that he can observe it in the laboratory by growing these cultures in the glass vase. So, looking into the importance, it is useful to study the early development of the embryo development, of fruit development, different aspects of your fruit physiology, including respiration, maturation, and the diseases in the fruit. These can be well studied. The effect of phytohormones on the parthenocarpic fruit development can be studied from the cultures of unpollinated pistil. So you all know now the parthenocarpy fruit is one which do not contain seeds. So what is the effect of these hormones, plant hormones, on the parthenocarpic fruit? That can be studied in using the unpollinated pistil. The other important is the floral organs play a significant role in the fruit development. Role of floral organs can be studied from the in vitro culture of ovary. In some, it has been found that the pollinated ovary produces normal fruits in vitro if sepals are not removed before the culture. But what did we say? We usually cut off the sepals, the petals, everything, leaving only the pistil. But now the scientists have observed in some plants what is happening is that is even in the presence of sepals, normal fruits in vitro can be produced. However, if sepals are removed before the culture, addition of sucrose, that is 5% of sucrose is necessary to obtain satisfactory growth of ovary in the culture. This point is to be noted down. So in some, it has been found that the pollinated ovary produces normal fruits in vitro. That is, in vitro means in the lab. If the sepals are not removed before the culturing. However, if you have removed the sepals, then the addition of 5% of sucrose is necessary to obtain a satisfactory growth of the ovary in the culture. Next, the ovary culture has been successful in inducing polyembryony. So polyembryony play a good role. That is, a polyembryo may develop into culture from various parts of the ovary. These polyembryos give rise to many shoots instead of a single plantlet. So let me make it more clear. The formation of more than one embryo from a single sterilized ovum or in a single seed is known as polyembryo. So we can develop such type of polyembryos. Okay, the formation of more than one embryo from a single fertilized ovum is known as the polyembryony. So here what the scientists have observed that by using the ovary culture, it is possible to produce polyembryony. And these polyembryony may develop in the culture from various parts of the ovary. These polyembryos give rise to many shoots instead of a single plantlet. That is, for example, I'll just show you. So there are, imagine from a single seed or from a single embryo, we told that we can produce many polyembryos are being produced. Okay. Each of this can again produce lot of shoots. Okay, many more shoots they can develop. That is, they are not developing into a single plant, but developing many shoots. So that is an advantage. Then the process of double fertilization. Okay, it not only brings about formation of embryo and endosperm. You know that double fertilization is the formation of the embryo and the endosperm. But it also stimulates the development of ovary into fruit. So that is the importance of your in vitro ovary culture. That is, the double fertilization not only brings about the formation of the embryo and the endosperm, but it stimulates the development of the ovary into fruit. It initiates your ovary to develop into a fruit. And in the hybridization, particularly in hybridization, what happens? You are bringing into different interspecies or intergeneric which have no compatibility, and you try to hybridize them so that you get a new variety. So this hybridization is one of the oldest method. It is one of the conventional or traditional methods wherein the plant breeders face many problems, such as the failures of the pollen germination, as we have mentioned here, failure of pollen germination on the stigma, or the slow and inefficient growth of the pollen tube, or the abscission of the flowers, that is, they fall off the flowers. So many problems they face during the hybridization because of the incompatibility between those two different plants which are from two different species or two different genera. Okay, so ovary or pistil culture, in vitro fertilization, that is the test tube pollination, has been used to circumvent these obstacles. So such type of obstacles can be inhibited by using in vitro fertilization. In vitro fertilization has got an immense value in plant breeding where the problem of incompatibility or sterility exists as a barrier to normal sexual reproduction. So in hybridization, what is happening? There is normal sexual reproduction is happening between two different species. But here that is not the case. There is no question of sexual means of reproduction here. So it might be possible, therefore, to produce a hybrid between two species or varieties in vitro that could not be produced under the normal in vivo condition. So these are some of the plus points when we are growing our ovaries. Ovaries are the ones which develop into the fruit in the laboratory condition. So here we have mentioned about the polyembryony. That is many embryos being produced from a single seed. So these polyembryos do not develop into a single plantlet. They provide many shoots. So from each of the shoot, I can develop the root. Okay. And double fertilization. You all know what is happening in double fertilization is the formation of the embryo and endosperm. But here what happens, it also stimulates the development of your ovary into formation of the fruit. So these are the advantages of your ovary culture. So coming to the ovule culture. Now ovule means immediately this has to strike to your mind. What? That is the seed. Okay. So the ovule is present inside the ovary. So how will we define the ovule culture? Ovule cultures are aseptically isolated from ovary. Yeah, isolated from the ovary and are grown aseptically on chemically defined medium under the controlled condition. This is what is about the meaning of a ovule culture. Ovules are aseptically isolated from the ovary and you grow them aseptically onto the chemically defined media under the controlled condition. So look at this, the structure of our ovule. An ovule is a megasporangium. It is the female reproductive part of the plant. Okay, it is a megasporangium and it is covered by what? Integument. Look at this, these are the integument. The ovules are attached with the placenta inside the ovary. I told you these ovaries are the seeds which are attached to the ovaries. How they are attached? They are attached with the placenta inside the ovary by means of this funicules. Funicules. An ovule contains a megaspore or an egg cell. After fertilization, a single zygote is formed, which ultimately leads to the formation of the mature embryo. So when this undergoes fertilization, what is being formed? A zygote is being formed, which then matures, okay, into an embryo. And from this embryo, you can develop your root and shoot. So once they are developed, you can get your whole plant. That is about a ovule culture. So how are we going to proceed with it? So the first step is you collect the open flower, that is unfertilized ovule. Okay. You collect the open flower, that is your unfertilized ovule. If fertilized ovules are decided, that is, if you want fertilized ovule, collect the open flower where the anthers are dehiscent, that is, your anthers are cut off and pollination has taken place. To ensure that the fertilization has occurred, collect after 48 hours after you have removed your anther, so that you can be more sure that the fertilization has occurred if you're using the fertilized ovules. Okay, so you can go for an open flower for unfertilized ovule. You can otherwise go for an fertilized, unfertilized or fertilized ovule. So the next step is you remove the sepals, petals, androecium, etc. from the ovaries containing either the fertilized or the unfertilized ovules. So we remove all the sepals, petals and androecium from the ovaries containing either a fertilized or unfertilized ovules. Then we soak the ovaries in the 6% sodium hypochlorite solution. Then you rinse the ovules 3 to 4 times with the distilled water. So after this, the next step is more important. Using a sterile techniques, the ovules are gently prodded. Prodded means you just, with the help of your spoon-shaped spatula, you just tap on them. On who? On the ovaries, so that the ovaries open and your ovules are exposed onto your spoon-shaped spatula. By doing so, what you're doing, you're breaking the funicles, because your ovules are attached to the ovaries by this funicles. That is why we were going on telling ovaries, ovaries here. It would have struck in your mind, we are speaking about ovule, but why I am telling ovaries? The ovules are present inside the ovaries. After you have washed with all this, and then after the sterilization process is done, then go for this test, breaking the funicles. Now what happens? All your ovules are on the spatula, right? So you should carefully take your spatula containing the ovules and put them into a sterile solid or a liquid media, so that whatever the vials you have, or the vials mean the glass vase what we are using, you just slant it to a 45-degree, okay, so that you can easily put your spatula of ovules into it. So any damaged or unsized ovules are rejected. Incubate the ovule culture in either dark or light for 16 hours, 300 lux at 25 degrees centigrade. So it requires both the dark and the light period. You can provide 16 hours of light and 8 hours of darkness. So coming to the importance and application of the ovule culture. Now, isolated ovule culture as early as the zygote or 2 or 4 cell pro-embryo stage is of considerable importance. What we mean to tell is, we spoke about the pro-embryos. Okay, so these are very important, which are early stages of your zygote, just containing 4 cells of the pro-embryo, the starting stage. It's very important. The ovule culture is boon for plant breeders in obtaining seedling from crosses which are normally unsuccessful because of the abortive embryos. Because we told that because of the incompatibility between the interspecies or intergeneric plant what you're using, it ultimately leads to a sterile seed. or the seeds undergo abortions. So we can't use them. So this ovule culture is a boon to the plant breeders, wherein by this technique we can avoid these problems what is mentioned. Secondly, we can use it for the test tube pollination and fertilization. An important achievement of research on ovule culture has been in the development of the technique of test tube pollination and fertilization. By this technique, it may be possible to germinate the pollen in the same culture as the excised ovule and to induce the in vitro fertilization. So, what you're doing, it is possible to germinate the pollen in the same culture as the excised ovule. So, your excised ovule and the pollens are there in the same culture so that they can induce in vitro fertilization. So all the stages of development, starting from the germination of the pollen to double fertilization, have been observed, and the mature seeds containing viable embryos have been obtained by this test tube pollination and fertilization. So what they have done is, wherever my ovule is present, in whichever culture vessel it is present, I am adding to the same vessel even my pollen, so that what happens, in vitro fertilization happens. In vitro means in the test tube itself, let the fertilization happen. Once it has happened, what the scientists have observed is, all the stages of development, what is happening in vivo, in your in outside environment, that is starting from the germination of the pollen to double fertilization, have been observed, and the matured seeds containing viable embryos have been obtained by the above experiment. Viable means fertile embryos have been obtained. And also, like as we told about in the ovary culture, we can use it even for the hybridization technique here also. So whenever we use that interspecific or intergeneric crosses, okay, so what did we tell? So it is it may be a interspecies or intergeneric. The genus are different. Okay. So what happens whenever there is a cross made between your interspecies, one more interspecies, or between an intergeneric, two intergeneric plants, what happens? You get a progeny, which you call it as F1 hybrid. The F1 hybrid embryos frequently become abortive, that is sterile. They are not able to develop further. Okay, frequently they become abortive in the developing seeds, or the F1 seeds are not capable to support the development of the embryos. During that condition, your ovule culture is being successfully employed, and it has come as a rescue to obtain hybrid seedlings. So also in the production of haploid callus through ovule culture, which has not been mentioned here. Okay, so even haploid cultures or haploid callus can be developed through the ovule culture. For example, there is a species named as Solanum melongena, wherein they are able to develop an haploid callus in this species by using the ovule culture. How? They are supplemented. So you are growing this ovule culture in a chemically defined media, right? So they have supplemented it with IAA. What is this? Indole acetic acid, which is an oxen. And also they have induced what? Kinetin. Kinetin. Okay, kinetin. What is this kinetin? It is a cytokinin. So they have supplemented with indole acetic acid and kinetin. So it is an important attempt to obtain a haploid cell line or plant from an alternative sources rather than the anther or pollen culture. Instead of me going for an anther or pollen culture, I will grow the ovule culture in the laboratory, provide all the suitable supplements, particularly the indole acetic acid and kinetin, and I can go develop an haploid callus through the ovule culture. And another important uh, point regarding the ovule culture is it is generally believed that the obligate root parasite, okay, obligate root parasite means in the root there are certain parasites which has to live in combination with the root. So they are called as the must and should. Okay, that is what is this obligate root parasite. The formation of seedling is dependent on some stimulus from the host root. Okay, so there is a formation of seedling, and that seedling is dependent on some stimulus from the host root. That is what it is being picturized in the particularly in the angiospermic parasite. So in ovule culture, what did they do was the studies on the ovule culture have demonstrated that the formation of the shoot in vitro can be induced in the absence of the stimulus from the host. So there is no requirement of such stimulus. I can still develop the shoot from the ovule culture without the stimuli. So this is also, it has been proved in the ovule culture. So ovule culture of orchid plants, we know that for many of us, orchid is an what it, we appreciate the flowers of different orchid. We have so many different varieties and such a beautiful flowers they develop. Okay, so in nature, the seeds of this orchid plant, okay, they germinate only in association with proper fungus. As a result, numerous seeds are lost due to the unavailability of proper fungus. If the fungus is not present, so the seeds are lost because they can be, they can form, they can develop only in association of the proper function. The proper fungus. As a result, numerous seeds are lost due to the unavailability of the proper fungus. Besides, one more problem with this orchid, as you must have noticed if you have this plant, the seed capsule of many orchid takes long time to mature. So to overcome such problem, several attempts have been made to culture the fertilized ovule of orchid in vitro. So I'll take a fertilized ovule of the orchid plant, develop it in the in vitro, so that the association with the proper fungus, or that the time taken, the long time taken to the maturity can be inhibited. And also it is used in the induction of polyembryo by the ovule culture. Particularly the polyembryos of ovule culture is being developed in the citrus plant. We have already dealt with this in the ovary culture, so we shall not go into deep into it. So virus eradication through ovule culture. It has been a nuisance, particularly for the people who are growing the citrus plant varieties, because always it is being infected by the virus. In variety of citrus, it's almost impossible to free them of the virus. But by using this ovule culture, it has been proved that we can develop the citrus plant which is free of virus. So that is a big breakthrough, right? So these are some of the important application of your ovule culture. So we spoke about the ovary. Ovary is the one which is forming the fruit. Ovule is present inside the ovary, and that is what is forming the seed, the ovary culture and ovule culture. So whenever I'm doing the ovule culture, it is not that directly I'm taking the ovule, I'm taking the ovary. And then after taking out the ovary, proceeding with the sterilization procedure, only then I'm exposing my ovule with the help of the spatula and growing them in the chemically defined media under the suitable condition.
Yes.
Okay, so this ovary, okay, remember this, don't get confused even in the exam. Okay, ovary is the one which is going to develop into the fruit, and inside the ovary is what? Is the seed, right? And the seed is nothing but it is the ovule. So for ovary culture, you can take pollinated or unpollinated flowers. For ovule also it is the same. Okay, you can take a fertilized or unfertilized ovule. But remember that whenever you're doing ovary culture with the fertilized or the unpollinated and pollinated flowers, you have to provide particular media. For unpollinated especially, you have to add extra media. So in ovule culture, what you have to keep in mind, that is, you have to see that fertilization has happened. Who brings about the fertilization? The male reproductive organ, that is your anther. So you're removing of your anther itself after some time, but after removing the anther also, 48 hours after removing only, you should collect the ovule, because you don't know whether the fertilization has happened. So wait for that 48 hours and then proceed with the experiment. That will actually assure you that, okay, the fertilization has happened. Okay, so one is the fruit culture, one is the seed culture. Whereas in the application part, when you come, you see that almost the applications are similar. What we mean by hybridization means completely two different varieties which are uncompatible with each other. Right? They are getting fertilized. How they are getting fertilized? By sexual reproduction. When you're bringing two different species or two different genera and allowing them to sexually reproduce, it is not possible because there is not compatibility with these two. So, but still in traditional methods, what the people do is still they go for the fertilization. It is just not with one plant. Thousands of plants, they do such type of fertilization, and maybe in that 1,000, one plant will get fertilized. That problem, that janjat is not there in the ovule or ovary culture when you're doing it in the laboratory, because you are the manipulator here. They are working under your condition. What media, what condition you are supplying, what you want, you are getting it from this. Okay, so that is why the ovule or ovary culture is particularly, it is a boon for hybridization technology. When I want to cross two different varieties and get a good quality of output, these two come into your rescue. Another one, what did I tell you about the ovule culture is, see, we are taking the ovary until the sterilization process, we are using the ovary only. Then you're bringing that ovary into your laminar hood. After that, you see, this is your ovary. Okay, inside that ovary, who is present? Your ovules are present like this in the form of, they are all seeds. So the whole ovule is not swimming around inside the ovary. Ovule is what? Seed. They are attached to your fruit. You all know that. They are attached by how they are attached to your fruit. They are attached to the placenta and by the funicles. So now what I'll do is, I'll take a spatula. Okay, if this is the spatula, I'll just make a press. Okay, so when I press over this, this ovary will break open. And then what happens? All the ovules, okay, they will just be freed from their placenta or freed from the funicle, and they all will go and settle in your spatula. Okay, then what you do is, you put it into your vial. Vial is your glassware, any type of glassware. So what you do is, you tilt your glassware to 45 degree. Okay, your test tube, you tilt it, or whatever conical flask which is containing the media, you tilt it to 45 degree. Then the spatula, you just immerse it into this containing the ovules. That is how you're going to grow. That is what we meant by that sentence.